I don't want to be with a God who's going to send me to hell just because I don't believe it. That's kind of a big thing to do.
I agree with you. I don't want to be with a God who's going to send me to hell just because I don't believe in him. But no one's going to hell simply because they don't believe. Human beings are going to hell because they choose to live their life separate from God. And because God respects their free will, he's not going to drag them into heaven to spend eternity with him against their will. You see, it's a deeper issue than simply playing a little intellectual gymnastics. If I choose to live my life separate from God, God respects my free will. He respects my decision, and I will spend eternity separate from him. That's the only reason people go to hell. Not because they got intellectually confused. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, but the thing is like, obviously nobody wants to spend eternity in hell. Even if you die and you realize, like, oh, like, crap, this is real.
Right.
Like, nobody wants to spend eternity in hell, so he's not going to be like, oh, I understand, you don't like me, so I'll take you to hell, don't worry. He'll be like, oh, well, you know, you were wrong, you understand that you want to spend eternity with me, so that's fine.
If you want to spend eternity with God in heaven, you'll put your faith in Christ, and you'll spend eternity with him in heaven. He offers you that gift right today. So it's your decision. But if you choose to live your life separate from him, he respects you. He gave you a rational mind. He gave you free will. And if that's the decision you make, he will honor your decision. Guess what, sir? You don't have to study for your next exam. You can party. But you will flunk. And if you flunk enough of your exams, you will be expelled from Texas State University. Does that mean that Texas State is a warped, evil institution? No. It means you and I have to grow up, and we have to realize, although we're free to party, we're not free to escape the consequences. We will flunk. See, so part of growing up, part of maturing means I realize I can get drunk every night, but my brain will fall apart. I will become an alcoholic. I can get high, get behind the wheel of a car, but there's a good probability that I'm going to end up dead from a car accident. Now, I'm free to do that, but I'm not free to escape the consequences of my decisions. Go out and get a job. Show up late to work. You do that enough times, you will be fired. Not because your employer is evil and warped, but because there are consequences to your decisions. Have unprotected sex. You will probably get STD. Well, guess what, guys? That's called facing reality. That's what you got to do. Does that make sense? Now, what do you think about Christ?
Well, everything that you just mentioned, like all those examples,
Yes.
say, you know, you will get an STD because that's true. That is the thing. Like, that will happen. You will get fired because that's true. You will flunk your test because that's true. Nobody knows if God is real or whatever. It's not a fact. It's not true. None of it, you know, he should understand at least, like, oh, you know what? You're on Earth and there's a lot of crap going on down there that there's no scientific evidence for this or that or this or that. You have free will. Like, I understand it's weird. It's hard to, you know, put your entire life into something that you're not even sure is real. Why should I put my entire life on believing in something that I don't even know if it's real or not? And if it turns out not to be real, then I've been living my life the way that I don't want to.
Hey, great question, and I really appreciate your thoughtfulness. You're articulate, you're thinking well, and thank you, sir. You show respect, and I appreciate that, so thank you. All right. Sir, if anybody says to you, unless you can scientifically prove it, it's not true, please look them in the face and say, no problem. Just please scientifically prove to me that unless I can scientifically prove something, it's not true. You see, sir, it's a lie. It's a total lie if anybody says, unless you can scientifically prove something, it's not true. Why? Because that's a philosophy. The statement, unless you can scientifically prove something, it's not true, is not science. It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy that says all of knowledge is contained in science. Sir, you don't scientifically prove that George Washington was the first president of the United States. You historically gather eyewitness testimony that points to George Washington being the first president of the United States. Science is a wonderful branch of knowledge, but it's just a small branch. There's historical knowledge. There is personal knowledge. To put it most bluntly to you, sir, don't go on a scientific date.
I don't disagree with you.
Don't do it.
I don't disagree with you. I think that what you said about science is true. The thing is I personally think that there is something that's greater than us that we can't explain. I mean, we can't explain space, for instance. Like, there is no way to explain the infinite, it's just, we can't comprehend anything in general.
Right.
So there are things that we can't explain, and I agree with you. But the thing is, I think there's something, bigger than us out there, but why are we supposed to believe in one exact, this happened, this is Christ, this religion, where there's hundreds and hundreds of other religions that, how do we know that the Muslims are right? How do we know that, this person's right, this person's right? It just seems ridiculous to focus your whole life on one thing that we don't even know is true.
Great issue. First point. The reason that I trust Jesus is because the historical, not the scientific, the historical evidence of the way he lived his life, the content of his ethical teaching, the way he died, loving and forgiving his enemies, and most importantly, fourthly, the way he rose from the dead, points to him being reliable. Those 4 points. First of all, the way he lived. Second of all, the content of his teaching. Thirdly, the way he died, loving and forgiving his enemies, not hating them the way I would have. And fourthly, the way he rose from the dead. That historical evidence points us to the fact we can trust the dude. He's not a con artist. He's not a charlatan. He's not out to rip us off. Jesus Christ is reliable based on his lifestyle, his teachings, his death on a cross, forgiving his enemies, and his resurrection from the dead. Now, take any other option. Take Buddha, Muhammad, the avatars of Hinduism. Take science, rationalism. Take hedonism. Just live to stimulate your nerve endings. Compare it to Christ, and I think what you'll find is the evidence is Jesus is more reliable than any of the options.
So, say I'm a Buddhist,
Right.
all right?
You bet.
And I unknowingly follow everything that Jesus has told his followers to follow. I follow all the Ten Commandments, I don't, put all my faith in Christ per se, but I'm generally a good person. I do everything that he tells us to do and he tells us not to do. I don't do this. Am I still good?
Okay, great question. Sir, I've been speaking on university campuses now for 30 plus years before you were born. I have never met one person who can honestly say, I have never sinned. Pardon me. There was one student at MIT up in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Real smart.
In a lounge, this MIT student said, I've never sinned. All of his classmates burst into laughter. You see, sir, we all know. Because we have consciences. Every atheist has a conscience. Every agnostic has a conscience. Every Buddhist, Christian, Hindu has a conscience. We all know that we have fallen short of moral goodness. Pure moral goodness. I certainly have. No, I've never brought a whip down in the back of a black slave. But I've had racist attitudes. No, I've never raped a woman, not even date rape. But I have lusted. No, I've never stolen money out of a bank. But I have been greedy. I'm not this great person I wish you all would believe that I am. I am a dirty, rotten sinner. That is why I need the grace of God, the forgiveness of God. Well, is God interested in forgiving me? Yes, Jesus Christ said. And the way that God forgives us is through Christ's death on a cross.
Trying to get through here.
All right, could you all move in a little closer?
Thank you.
You bet. No problem. Have a great day. Thank you. All right. So, Christ claimed that he bled and died on the cross to pay the penalty for my sin. Now, here's my problem with that. My problem with that is, I don't want you to know, and I don't want to acknowledge that I got a problem with evil. Murderers, rapists, they got a problem with evil.
Yeah, Ben.
The KKK, they got a problem with evil. But not me. I'm a great guy. Sir, I'm lying to you. Although at times I do good, this way I'm sure you do good at times, I at times do what I know is wrong. And I experience guilt. Well, guilt, according to Christ, is God's alarm system. Wake up and smell the coffee, Cliff. You've blown it. And Christ offers me God's grace, his forgiveness. Now, let me give you a quick story to illustrate this. Italian truck driver loves to visit brothels. So do his fellow friends who are Italian truck drivers. One day, an Italian truck driver says to this guy, "Hey, bud, there's a really, really good prostitute. And she lives in this brothel." And this first Italian truck driver says, "Well, wait a second, that brothel's pretty close to my home. But I'm going to go there one day anyway, secretively." So he goes to that brothel. He asks for this woman that his buddy, the truck driver, tells him is a really good prostitute. He asks for her, and he waits in the room for her to come. The door opens, and in walks his wife. Now, he almost kills her physically. He has to be restrained. But notice what's happening. Notice the duplicity. Notice the self-deception of the truck driver. He has no problem with going around to brothels. But when his wife plays the prostitute, he's irate. You talk about double standards. You talk about a stinking hypocrite. And yet, guess what, guys? We all do that, don't we? It's really easy for me to point to ISIS. It's really easy for me to point to the KKK. It's really easy for me to point to certain people and say, "Oh man, they got a stinking problem with evil." But guess what, guys? So do I. I've been hypocritical. I need God's grace. I need Jesus Christ. Does that make any sense?